Kyle Weatherman stops by this morning to discuss the challenges of the Xfinity Series, to break down the upcoming Chicago street race and the stacked Xfinity Series field, and of course, naturally, we had to talk a little bit about the weather. Let's bring in Kyle Weatherman, always a good time. I'm now joined by NASCAR Xfinity Series driver Kyle Weatherman. Excited to talk Chicago. But first, Kyle, it's great to have you here. Since your last name is Weatherman, I've got to begin with a weather-related question. It was hot out there at Nashville. Have you recovered since then? We saw a lot of drivers' cool suits failing. I think I saw your AC failed in the race.
It did.
How tough are those conditions, man?
Yeah, it's tough. And years previous, I've struggled, but since then, I've never let myself get to that extent again. So I saw the weather early. I'm the weatherman, so I know exactly what the weather's gonna be at every time. Yeah, I started on Monday. Started hydrating, liquid IVs, Pedialyte, whatever it took. And there's these like salt tablets that I take as well that really help kind of keep my fluid on. So yeah, started Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was just drinking a bunch of fluids, and I was ready for it, man. I actually felt really good, even though my AC went out. For the most part, I was hydrated well and felt pretty good, and felt like I could go a little bit longer, actually.
Yeah, gosh, I can't imagine sitting in a car baking. It's what, 130 plus degrees inside the race car?
Yeah, it was hot, and whenever my AC went out, so like what, it's really not. It helps a little bit, but it really just helps with like the airflow and giving you a little bit of fresh air like through your head and stuff, right? So when that went out, the biggest thing I struggled with was dealing with like the carbon monoxide smell and stuff like that we were having to deal with. So that's not safe. So I kept my visor down and still just got even hotter with the visor down, but it's better than inhaling all that carbon monoxide stuff for sure.
Gosh, just pick your poison right there. That's not fun. I don't know how you guys do it, but hey, more power to you. I want to talk
Sometimes
to you.
I don't know how I do it either. I look at it, I'm like, how do I deal with that for 2.5, 3 hours? But
it's insane. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about your move to DGM this year. I know it's been maybe more of a struggle lately, but I've seen you guys with top 15 speed consistently. How would you assess where your team is at halfway through the season?
yeah, it has been a tough road, that's for sure. Speed wise, it's there, right? So every single week we get to the racetrack, we're pretty close to where I feel like we need to be, but just putting the races together has just been a struggle this year. I think this is what, race 14, 15 or whatever, something like that. And man, we've only put together probably 2 or 3, ones that I can go look back at and say we've had some good results and got the most out of the day. So that's not good, right? That's not where we're wanting to be. And, we're still working hard, still grinding at it. And, even this weekend, right, we had some troubles on pit road and put us back to where, we're a couple laps down and can't dig our hole out of that. So, it's been tough, but there's been places like Dover, for example, or Charlotte, where we unload, we're fast, and we put those races together, and it just makes kind of these low moments that much sweeter. Just wish we had a little bit more sweeter moments through this year so far, but still got plenty of races to go, and we can turn it around at Chicago this weekend.
Yeah, I'll ask you about Chicago in a moment, but can you kind of go into that a little bit more? Like the middle of the Xfinity Series pack is so jammed up. There's so many good cars, but it's very difficult to break into that top 10, 15 where the top teams with Cup Series support, with all these resources, like that's a really tough threshold to consistently break into. So can you talk a little bit about that challenge of the Xfinity Series? It sometimes feels like it's very top heavy, and there's lots of good cars that are really trying to break into that top bunch.
Yeah, and what changed that, and I was right on the edge of kind of both sides. What changed it was COVID. COVID changed everything in Xfinity Series, preparation wise, on how your cars came to the racetrack, what you had to do before you even got to the racetrack, in a sense of when COVID hit, we went straight to the race, right? So your car had to be on and ready before the race started, right? So that entailed, you having to go for sure to dyno, right? Make sure everything train right was correct. Then you had to pull down, make sure you weren't going to go kill the splitter, just rolling off the truck, going straight to the race. So that preparation that COVID kind of made you have to do and spend that extra dollar to get that stuff prepared has just trickled down and continued to go throughout, these next years that have happened. So what I'm saying is the preparation of the field and the cars and the money getting spent is just outrageous right now and crazy from first all the way to 32nd, 33rd, right? I mean, it's going all the way down there to where cars are just spending crazy amount of money and preparation wise before you even get to the racetrack. And it has just ramped up the field, which is awesome. But I used to be able to go finish 15th, pretty easily. Now going and finishing 15th is a win for us, right? So it's a crazy what the past few years have looked like. And I really kind of put it pinpointing on COVID, just having to really prepare your car to be ready when you get to the racetrack because you can't make mistakes and have stuff fail or you're having bad results.
It's tough, yeah, when these teams learn a process or something that seems to help them go faster. You never unlearn that, I guess. If you have the
Yeah,
ability, you're going to
exactly.
keep putting in that work, keep pouring in those resources. Man, it's tough, but it has been very competitive. It's been fun to watch from a fan's perspective, watching the Xfinity Series the past couple of seasons. Kyle, I want to get to know Kyle Weatherman a little bit more, and I'm sure a lot of the folks watching at home would like to as well. My question for you is, who are some of your early or maybe biggest influences you've had in your racing career?
Yeah, super early. So David Reagan was the first one I was introduced to. My dad's best friend Brian Main is related to David Reagan.
Oh, wow.
So when all that started, we started in go karts from like 8 to 9, and then well, actually, no, started when I was 6. Whenever I turned 9, we went to the Legend Cars, and at that time, Ken Reagan was running U.S. Legend Cars, and really just kind of got us going in that direction. So David Reagan at the beginning of my career was a huge asset and still is this day. And then it kind of trickled down to where I took over Chris Buescher's Legend Cars.
Hmm.
And then from 12 on, Chris has been a huge help and support of mine as well. I actually lived with him for a while before my family moved down here. Since then, my family has actually moved back to Missouri, and now I have my own house. But I lived with Chris and Emma Busher for about a year and a half. So I call them mom and dad. They're a big support team of mine, and so those are the two biggest supporters that I've had growing up. I know that was a quick recap, but yeah, definitely those two have definitely helped put a lot of things together and help kind of prepare me as a driver who I am now.
Yeah. Well, what kind of a roommate is Chris Bush? I guess what kind of a roommate are you living with the Bushers?
Oh, I loved it, man. We got along very well, and it was just fun. They've got some dogs. I love dogs.
Nice.
Now they have chickens and goats and stuff. I didn't have that when I was living there, so I'd help take care of all that stuff too. But no, it's cool, and
That's funny.
they're awesome people to be around for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I guess getting back to the racing a bit, we talked briefly at Nashville, and I know we mentioned this then, but you've had some Cup Series teammates for one-offs recently, like Ross Chastain at Nashville. You'll be driving alongside Daniel Suarez at Chicago this weekend. When you have experienced Cup guys come in for a race here or there, is there anything you can learn from them during those weekends?
Yeah, it helps. It helps a lot, right? The knowledge and preparation that they have coming into cup events obviously trickles down to them with the Xfinity stuff too. So knowledge and just data that they have and previous races that they've ran there, it just all helps, right? So diagnosing, very similar. Our cars go to the racetrack very similar. The 91 and 92. So normally what he's fighting is very similar to what I'm fighting. So the knowledge that he has to kind of diagnose and fix and get better, it just helps expedite that process, right? And he just knows, both of them know what anybody in the Cup Series knows kind of what they need to go fast, and every driver's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, normally the same problems that we're having are similar, and we kind of have two data points to kind of look at and kind of diagnose and get as better as fast as we can.
That's good. That's great. Let's talk Chicago. Year 2 of the Chicago Street Race. You raced the Xfinity race last year, had a good top 15 run. So, what are you looking forward to this time around, both as far as the race itself, but also the event? Like, do you enjoy this street race Chicago experiment that NASCAR's put on the past couple seasons?
I love it. I love it. I think it is so cool. Yeah, and I'm ready to soak it in this time. Not that I didn't last time, but it's just the experience of being downtown in Chicago with all the buildings around and just walking distance to go get your coffee at Starbucks, straight to the trailer. it's just a great experience, really cool experience. I'm not renting a car. I'm gonna
Hmm.
Uber straight to the hotel, and then from the hotel you can walk from the whole distance from the track to the hotel and everything. So it's just a really cool experience. I'm really excited for it. It rained almost the whole time we were there last year.
Yeah.
And normally when it's raining at a racetrack, it's miserable. I had a great time. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. So, the radar is looking a little bit better as Kyle Weatherman, the My Radar weather app is showing that it's going to be better. So I'm excited for that. And still going to be hot, but it looks like the rain's going to hopefully stay away.
That's exciting. Yeah, I'm very excited to hopefully see a much cleaner, drier Chicago street race. We can really give
Yes.
this event a true opportunity, give it a shot,
Yeah.
a legitimate shot this year. Going to be fun to watch the Beard Guys Camaro on Saturday. And speaking of that Xfinity race specifically, it's a stacked field. I assume you've seen the entry list. You got Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, John Hunter, Joey Logano is in the field. Like,
Yeah.
for a team like yours, how much more challenging is it when you have, I think it's 43 or 44 guys going for 38 spots, something like that? Like that.
Yeah.
How stressful is that for you and your team?
Yeah, it gets stressful. And I feel like, where we're at on points as well, ownership wise, we're okay, but not great, and when you get a field stacked like that, right, you've got a couple of those cup guys that are behind you in points, that's stressful, right?
Yeah.
So, Mario's stuff has always been good on road courses. And I feel like as a driver, I've gotten better as well. And, there's not a lot of data for Chicago. We've only been there once. So, similar playing field, I guess, if you want to look at it in that sense, right? Unless you're Shane Van Gisbergen, right? We're not on that level, so
Yeah.
that's going to be tough. But at the end of the day, I feel like everybody else is very similar and kind of data wise on kind of what to expect. And but yeah, it adds a lot of stress and anxiety, kind of getting going. And you just have to be on, especially when the field is that stacked and not great on points wise. And you just got to go have a good practice, know what you got, and go lay a couple good laps down in qualifying and hope it's good enough. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm excited. I've been working on my beard here for
Ooh,
the
nice.
for the beard guy's car. The colors are amazing. The brown and orange just goes great. The suit looks sick. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a good weekend. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it as well. It's going to be great to see you out there, Kyle. Thank you so much for spending some time early this week. Let you get back to hydrating for the next one, getting prepared for the next hot, sweaty NASCAR Xfinity Series race. It's going to be fun to see at Chicago, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Shout out to Beard Guys sending me this awesome hat. Gonna be fun to watch Kyle Weatherman in the Beard Guys number 91 Camaro at Chicago this weekend. I'll be there. Hope you're there as well. Thanks for checking out this interview, y'all. I will see you in the next video.